Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing really well today. My name is Eva. I felt so drawn to come on here sort of quite suddenly. There's a really strong energy of like despair and like desperation and feeling like you are just so completely caged and incapable of making change in your life. Like you're never gonna learn the lessons you need to learn or believe what you need to believe to enact the change or to allow the change to move through you. There's a really strong sense of like not deserving anything that you want. Like there's a really strong message coming forward of like really needing to mind train on worthiness and deserving to wake up and do what you love, that it's possible for you to wake up and do what you love every day. That life doesn't mean that you have to do all these things you don't want to do, or that you're trapped in any kind of circumstance. And it's so oppressive. Like this is a really, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's so uncomfortable. It is like every cell of the body, every part of the self is just screaming in resistance against the life that, yeah, it's rough, the life that you're living. And the intention of this healing is to clear this away. Deeply sit in compassion and love for these parts of self. You might feel like it's this self, this lifetime. It could be coming from the collective, understanding that we all share one life, we heal as one, and we can feel into the collective, because the collective is one. So if that doesn't feel personally relevant, but you're like dealing with some really overwhelming emotions of feeling stuck, of feeling incapable of connecting to your creativity, and feeling like those creative efforts are worthy of being seen, and that it's possible for you to create your life and your compensation or your livelihood, your career, whatever, from your creative outputs, that they're worthy of being seen, that they're worthy, that other people will be interested in them, that they are enough, they are more than enough, they are sacred. This is for you. This feels incredibly oppressive. So I want to make sure that we are connecting deeply to the unity field, to the unity consciousness of the one, to the Christ field, however this comes through for you. Connecting to our source, connecting to the creator from which we never left. We are as God created us. Our sinlessness is guaranteed. Really allowing ourselves to detach from the really overwhelming, oppressive feelings and thoughts that are coming through for this, and nicely sort of sinking up and into the presence of the eternal. God's will for us is perfect happiness. If you need to cry, I really recommend it. If you feel like you need to pause the video and process at whatever point, I really encourage that. Don't be ashamed of whatever comes through. Don't be ashamed of any images that you get. Understand that all thoughts are images that you have made. Everything in this world is an illusion. The world is a dream, and we are the dreamers. You are perfectly safe. It's safe to let go. You don't need to hold on to these beliefs as defense mechanisms. You don't need protecting. Hitauna punitati sinikana tuin tayakino shanakana kiat. There's a strong feeling of like letting other people down, of feeling extremely responsible to other people, which might keep you in like a job you don't want and might keep you from seeing other possibilities, or that it is possible for you to create your own business or freelance or do whatever. That like art is a worthy endeavor, and that it is very healing, it's very useful, it is necessary, it's essential to our beingness as humans. Kita sona punihinda kana unta isonto afnato. Sharat utihanan tur hatasana indi sarakiatain. Sontapatahina shonokontatainiti. We want to very consciously bring forth compassion, forgiveness. Kaya sunchogonanti kama andoshna tati sanando ibiti kinano. Shanamantatahina, letting go of any false sense of humility, which keeps us chained. Sikiata kunitis natruita kuni medishon so indarihino ishanu. Suntapa hunto yaya kuna pata hitai. Hita sunjapa aiki atauna antisana untua sharakorro. Hiarais orayat arayata karahuna andra. Indara ruintayo shuru arayas. Rindara tu sunchapati hana andasara iotu umbarahini. Hinantua karayo suncharahi. Hiataosa karakorro atayat. Hitara iatara iotora anashana saa. Sanitarati. This has been quite a theme. This is always a theme with the work that I do, but connecting very deeply into the consciousness, the living presence of the earth. Sonchaboa sini sian shini son chishini kinti kanatua tais niti. Himinto sonchapai sanati esanaishion soni minin tarakorruita kuna ndrahatis. Sotipishana kandatis nantais. Connecting to the highest level of consciousness available for all energies that we work with. Hinasun chamati ataknasanti shurut, the most unified aspects, you could say. Shuyusun suin taisaya shumataka, hononto ftai dori kiambaiti sini kian saratu shunuin sai. Hinindayo suri parat, hopelessness. That's what this is. Hiatukinasnitish. That's so rough. And we hold like recognition and understanding for those parts of self that feel like they're still being held in traumatic situations, or that sort of, I always use this analogy that tape is still running. Those parts of self still believe that they're very much in danger, or that they have to negate themselves in order to survive. You do not have to negate yourself in order to survive. Hini sanchono kon rominan to sonchiati kayo sonchoni ansininditi ashorwayas na. Hyoshokoruitas natisanan toruitisi. Sayo shonu intayo sonchiriti sokyabori buyu tu intaya sot. Shayo sondo ni tatakana. Shana kumbai ki hayo koruiti sirikian tai. Hiunto sibi aya kiandi tayo nondui dai kinanto sun chaba. Allow the binding to unravel. Kinanto korrukin. Allow the perception of spirit to enlighten your mind. Korruitas no shoruitayun. By accepting your oneness with it, of it, from it. This is really coming through as like a disbelief in God, in spirit, in your, that spirit is for you, that God is for you. It's a really strong belief in everything conspiring against you. That's so deep. Hitting really hard in the solar plexus. You can't see my hand, but that's where it is. Hiatiumatuim nayosun chakuarayasun. Huaraihit oruitain. Sukorui tusu iti tatakarak. Kianaun duataisun. Making big space. Lots of opening. making space for it to release. Yes, it really looks like this image of being super, super contained and just like trying to like burst out of, but having no room, right? So we make room. Wherever you're feeling drawn to, still hitting pretty hard in the solar, but wherever this is coming through for you, go with it. And it could be from the center of everywhere, however your perception is leading you. Making big, big space for all of it to be released. And for spirit self to emerge and show you that you are taken care of. This usually doesn't come out so strongly with the tears when I record. You are taken care of. You are loved. You are worthy of having a life that is happiness, of being completely fulfilled from what is singing from your own soul. But first we might need assistance with hearing the song. If you can't hear the song, if you don't believe that the song is there, you won't be able to sing it. The song is you. There is no outside force that is binding you to situations you don't want to be in. You are so powerful. Show all of those parts of self. That's what this healing is for. Showing all of these parts of self that what they believed wasn't true. We understand and we are sorry that you believed those things, that you experienced those things. We hold in compassion that these parts of self have experienced these horrors. But we bring in the light of spirit to show these parts of self that they were mistaken about the reality of the horrors. Shayato kinando kinandarayo to shamohandi etata. Hunoto ata karakuara. Hiondo asarayun. Hundro epeisu yosho asarakiataya to kuna poshna kanankarakiatos. Hita kuno insuru atiamanaindua. Hin sharayisioto sayapot. Hushuru korruitandri hisinjuat. Hinanto sotibi atrit. Hindri hisoyoshontariti. And there is a big message coming forward of like, I won't be able to help others. I can't be successful in what I want to do until I am perfect. Until I am perfect at it. I can't help others heal while I have healing still to do. This is not the way. Remember, we're all walking each other home. We're all here in time. And you can only heal others as you heal yourself. When you heal yourself, when you purify yourself, even if you don't offer it to others in a formal capacity of being a healer or whatever, you are doing it for the entire field. I say this a whole lot, but it must be understood. It's what you hold is what you offer. When you do this work, you're always doing it for the highest bet. You're always clearing the whole. Because you are the whole. This can't be lost sight of. It's so important. And this should assist. It might not come off that way at first, but it should assist with not feeling like you're more responsible in a way that is stressful, but that you are less responsible in terms of your ego self, your personality self, like me as Eva here on earth running around, right? I feel a lot of pressure about helping other people because since I was a very little girl, I knew that this was what I was called to do and I couldn't hear anything else. And it has bred this sort of perfectionism and deep stress that I put on myself about the work that I offer, that I need to completely purify myself to be able to be an assistance, because what if I harm others in my process of healing? What if that harms others? That's impossible. That is a mistaken belief. And there's a lot in the spiritual community about passing off distortion. And that is so, I will say this, it's so dangerous and it's so reversed. And it really puts a lot of undue pressure. I'm not saying that everybody who says that is evil. I think they're mistaken about how healing works. I mean, everything we can be seen as an opportunity to release ourselves. So if you've been told that, I've been told that. If you've been told that and it's bringing up a lot of resistance and it's bringing up a lot of guilt and fear, take that as, yes, this was still a teacher who helped me to reveal these parts of self that I was holding on to. But remember, it's always up to you about what you're going to do with that. Are you going to let it chain you more and be afraid to share your gifts? Because it can certainly be taken that way. And especially when we don't have a lot of guidance, because this work is directed by spirit, right? It's not really so much about, physical teachers on earth who have mastered this. They're not in their bodies. So we're all working it out together. So it's not about holding anger, but you might have anger for spiritual teachers or healers that you've gone to who you have maybe perceived have delayed or attributed identities that you don't take on for yourself to you. Forgiveness, again, coming through here. This is unraveling quite a bit. There is a lot of resentment coming out. It is the base root of this is identifying what you believe, that you are capable of being harmed by others. That comes from not believing that you're one with God. It could be also past life trauma from having done work or adjacent work at different expanded levels throughout time and dimensions, right? And having been, feeling like you were putting other people at risk or certainly putting yourself at risk and being punished for doing this work. That is attached to this as well. We want to let this go. This is all part of the dream. This is all the dream. This is all illusion. Free yourself. Rest. Dear one, rest now. You don't need to hold on to this anymore. Kaya nukondiyan dos undukama tushono ndi. Sayanayan stayo to kuasuinjin. Kinambati ondo sori biyashiti. Kiati kono kinati yasuncha kuasarahita karaku arakaya kianakarato. Harayiti ondo karki hati kanato insoro kuyishini kintahis. Shobiasanandrit. If you have the intention to be healed, you will be healed. Keep aligning your intention with being healed, knowing yourself healed. It is possible for you to be healed right now. Unraveling all this belief that it's a giant process and it's so hard and it takes forever. That is limiting the miracle. You won't ever experience the fullness of your reality while you set limits on it like that. And I do that too. It's a process, right? I say that it's a process in the sense of don't get hard on yourself if you don't accept that right away, but do insist upon rewiring your thought system into accepting an instantaneous miracle and accepting the power of spirit to work through you right now. It's not about earning it. You've already earned it because God made you to accept. God made you that way. God made you one, to accept it, to flow with it, to create with it. It's hubris to think you're any other way. That's the false humility, is in that I mean, I say this because I was raised in the Catholic Church. Lord, I am not worthy to receive you. Biggest negation. And I can't speak for other religions, but most have some part of that prostration to God, right? That's not, God doesn't want that. God doesn't have perceptual mechanisms to receive worship. God wants you to accept yourself as that perfect being so that it can work through you. So you can recognize that this is your purpose, to be flowing and accepting of and then emitting the creation, because the creation is a process of love, a process of extension unto itself. Is always happening, but it won't be happening for you in your experience of your life if you don't accept yourself as a being that is made for that. And so we're washing away all that we believe, all circumstances that we hold in our memory, all trauma, all ancestral record, all genetic modifications and implantation and all that kind of stuff. However that comes through resonating with you. Those things aren't real, right? They're part of the dream. So however that's coming through to you is just a representational mechanism for you to try to understand how you've been chaining yourself and how you have ascribed that to forces outside of yourself that you're incapable of escaping. Kina korru kina shuntu atakanantu karito korru ruhin. Shatakuni karahinanda sana shana kanta karakiat. Sayotur ruhina tandritis. Now it looks like a big vault. It almost looks like a safe. Like we're turning the wheel. Kiata wuruhata. We're opening that part of you that you locked away. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Inception, but spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear the end, you can turn off the video now. When, what's his name? The Leonardo DiCaprio character is in limbo, right? This like lowest space of like pure creation. And he locks his wife's totem away in the safe, and it's still spinning. And then when she wakes up into what air quotes real life, she can't tell the difference between what is dream and what is reality, because the mechanism with which she used to remember has been locked away in a safe. You can think about ourselves that way as well. We have locked away the part of ourselves that is God-given, that is our true creative capacity from our soul, our highest self's light, which is love, creation, light waves, like light and sound waves in this universe that we manifest with. We've locked that part of ourselves away. So we are opening the codes, open that safe, because they come directed from your highest self. The more that you let them in, it opens from within and from without, right? Those are both the same thing. That we open to this remembrance that actually we are eternal beings and we made all of this up. We must remember this. We cannot be truly free while we believe that there are outside forces that have chained us. That happened in a dream. Different layers of a dream, different phases of a dream, on what we perceive to be different nights. But it's still part of the dream. Remember, you deserve happiness. Happiness is your birthright. God wills for you to be happy. The only thing God wants for you is to remember who you are and be happy. God doesn't give a shit about the content of the dream. He wants his children, he is a entrained thing from my upbringing. Whatever you resonate with, wants wholeness. It wants you to be whole. Figuring that out in the dream is not how you do it. It wants you to remember by accepting presence. To take the time to open to that presence, to let it show you, because it so wants to. Shakurihiti kindisananda karakia takunindadat. Hitakuru korrihiti insaratu. Hinindi kinandrati sinindu yoshukorruhiti kinande sinindi hindat. Ondo hinani nandu atakinando. Ondo shamandata kinasarakuti karakayaya to sonchorukindia tokindata kinat. Indarato soncho. This is like really, really deep grief. Really hold yourself through this if you have to. You guys have been through a lot. Everybody's been traumatized. Everybody in this world is traumatized. Remember, no one's suffering is greater than anyone else's. We share one life. It's not a contest of suffering. But honor what you've been through is what is making it feel like this is taking forever for you. Because you've been through hell. Because we believe in hell. Because we made hell. Hita soncho kontatarit. Tayoto arrahinan turhito shonondo hindaratus. The only eternal damnation is the one that we made for ourselves. It is not God-given. God gave you the capacity to make up the dream. That's about it, so far as it knows about it. But the stakes of the dream don't matter to spirit because it doesn't perceive it as real. You can give up the dream immediately. Spirit's message is you can be free of this right now. And that's what you must practice, accepting that you are free already. My mom teaches CCD, because like I've said, I was raised in the Catholic Church. I went to Catholic school. Jesus has always been my homeboy. Sorry, it was lame. So she's really into like Jesus movies and stuff. And I forget what this one was called, but it was about Jesus and this Roman soldier who was like sort of having a conversion experience through the end of Jesus's life on earth, because he was like, I believe this man basically, but he was tasked with, imprisoning him and then putting him to death. So sort of after the crucifixion, he goes and he finds Mary Magdalene, and she's, standing at the window, and he's like freaking out because he's like, oh my God, they just murdered this man who was like here to teach us how to be free. And she looks out the window and she like very calmly says to him, he taught us that we are already free. There is nothing to fear because we are already free. This is the message we are meant to accept for ourselves so that we don't extend the dream of fear for one moment longer for ourselves. So we don't continue to hurt ourselves with false ideas about what this world is. So we allow the acceptance of believing that we are worth everything that we envision for ourselves in the light of the truth, in vision of peace, in vision of happiness, in vision of community, in vision of being supported by all life around us to contribute to the whole with our God-given gifts and inspiration, right? The Holy Spirit is the inspiration of God, that we align ourselves with this Spirit so that what is naturally encoded in through us, through form, comes through from us to be shared with all life. This is a process of accepting ourselves as we truly are, not accepting faults. That's mistaken identity. Accepting perfection. Yes, we must accept our perfection if we want to see ourselves as God sees us. And if that's bringing up disbelief, if it's bringing up guilt that you feel like you can't do that, or you don't believe that, use it. Bring that up to Spirit. Ask Spirit to take that from you. I don't want this anymore. And then let it go. There is a misconception about what we have to do. We have to do very little. Spirit, we have to let spirit work through us in the belief that spirit is what we are. And then to our little selves, right? To our constructed identities, our false identities, you have to give up the belief that that's hard work. You have to give up the belief that there are like a million little steps you have to take to get done what you want to get done, to bring through what you have to bring through, and that it's going to be really hard and that you're going to be facing all of this opposition. That is a belief structure that is not real. Let yourself open to that. Every day, practice. Every day, practice that. If you want to write it down on Post-its, when I really committed myself to this, my apartments were covered in Post-its of reminders, of mantras. Constant redirection of thought is required. That's the effort. It's in your mind. It's in the thoughts that you think. And when you feel yourself getting close to the edge of having like a breakdown, an emotional outburst, try your best to redirect. When it feels like it needs to come out as a release, try to get in contact with the spirit part of yourself to hold a semblance of calm within the center of your being so that you don't cling to the release. Because that's fairly easy to do here. It's very easy to get distracted by the world of dreams. That's where our conscious effort is required, to remember that we are dreaming. And everything you want to change could change overnight if you let spirit take over. Because that's what spirit wants for you. It wants you to have what you want. We have to believe that God is for us. God is not against you. There is nothing here against you except yourself. We'll just pull through. I like to end to try to pull through any sort of blessing of remembrance of lightness, of unburdenedness, of home. Yataworru hinando yison chikinindi siritayo kunuin. Hurru hitatru arrayo to korruitu sunchuruai. Hinandro yeson, hinando atu shui. Hiu kunundu ruitayo sunchukinata sata. Suti tatakina, yandoro atayitata. Irihato kono andara I. Inchara korruitasaya. Unduru hitakarahita. Remember to drink water. Remember to bless your water. Connect to the conscious life of the water. Doing little practices like this are unity consciousness practices because we recognize the life, the sanctity in all around us. God is in everything that we see because God is projecting from us, because we are one with God. We are in God. We are the mind of God. When we correct that flow, we will see miracles. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have anything that you want to share, please feel free to use the comment section to do so. There are so many other people who are resonating at these levels, so many more than you might think there are. And you may be called to connect with them, even if you never meet them in person, even if it's just once. That is a very powerful connection. If you feel like you need more support at this time, there are many ways that we can work together. There's live one-on-ones. We could do it remotely. There's lots of recorded things available. You can check out my site below, or you can send me an email. I'm sending so much love and support to you at this time. Don't forget your holiness. Don't forget your sanctity. Don't forget the sanctity of all life. It can be very easy to forget now as we see so much anger and so much control attempting to, from the false trying to protect itself. Remember who you are. Remember your power. Remember your freedom. And remember to rest and take care of yourself. You're not lazy. You're doing a lot of work. All work is done in the dimensions above, right? And then it filters down lower and lower and lower. It's about making those changes at higher, more expanded energetic levels, to the change will be to dissolve the lower, so it is no longer available, okay? You can do it. You're always doing it. You don't have to speak light language. You don't have to believe in light codes. You don't have to believe in any specific healing modality. Every time you hold the intention of unification in love, of doing things in love for the highest good of all beings, for the happiness of all beings, for the peace of all beings, you are changing the world, because you're changing yourself and you're changing what projects from you. Words are made up. We made everything up. There is no right or wrong way or right or wrong modality or way to look at it except in the light of the one truth, which is that you are eternal, you are holy, you are worthy, you are perfection itself, and that God loves you, God is love, and love is what you are. I'm going to start bawling if I continue to go on like this. I'm wishing you all just the most beautiful day, and I love you very much. Thank you.